Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 858. And in today's episode, we're talking about fortifying your mind. I recognize and realize that last week's episode about protecting your home is very similar. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of a different spin on it. It was just, if you didn't know, you probably didn't know, but there was a potential hurricane going through near San Diego. So I was kind of preoccupied a little bit whilst trying to come up with ideas for the stream. And sometimes I forget. So in this episode, we are talking about fortifying our mind. And what do I mean by fortifying your mind? You've got to protect you, number one, right? You've got to protect this container. You've got to protect the sounds that you hear, the noise that you hear. There is so much noise than there ever has been in the whole history of the human race. When social media came out, it was such a good thing, and it still is a good thing. But on the same notion, it has consequence. Every time you pick up your device, you hear other people's opinions, whether they be good or bad or just indifferent. I don't really care about the quality of them right now. But we have to be consciously aware of this information which is coming into our brain through our five senses, because it's not just words. You reading information like scrolling, or listening to information like the news or social media opinions, you're taking that in and you're placing meaning upon it based on your own ideas. Now, if you don't feel good enough, for example, if you don't feel worthy and deserving, you're going to take that information through your five senses, where you read it, hear it, see it, whatever it is, and you're going to then start to connect it with your own perception. So therefore, if you don't feel worthy or good enough, it's going to make you more fearful. It's going to make you more anxious and worried. And after a while, sometimes they will become expectations. You will assume their expectations or society's expectations as that's what you should do. That's what you need to do. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be expected to be a certain way. Or sometimes we can fall into normalizing the issue. Now, I'm all for support groups. Number one, I want to say it very, very clearly. But I don't want us to always buy into the label as to that's who we are. Because if we've been told over and over again that you're going to be staying this way, that anxiety is normal, which to a degree it can be normal, but not if it's overwhelming, and you don't have to stay in that place. Your identity, as in the I am statement of I am not good enough, I am not worthy, I am not deserving, I am not capable, or external belief systems like money comes and goes, it's in scarcity, or all relationships are bad, or I can never get the job that I want, all of those things are just statements that we've been told over and over, or what we've assumed to be true, and therefore repeat that statement to ourselves continuously. It will cause us to take that on as our identity, but the truth of the matter is that's not who you are. That is your present situation. Get very, very clear on that. That's not who you are. You are so much more. It is just a learnt strategy. That's all it is. Now, that learnt strategy has had huge consequences. Huge. I mean, for some people, it could be things like IBS. For some people, it could be that scarcity which leads to debt. It could be that chronic fatigue. So I'm not downplaying the consequence of our issue. And that's why this episode is, to me, vitally important, because once you make that change, once you fortify your mind and make it stronger, you will start to recognize your worth. And on top of that, those symptoms, the scarcity, the physical, in my opinion, I'm no doctor, will have to, in my opinion, begin to diminish. They have to. Because your body's falling back into alignment. If we think of, say, the word dis-ease, it's a dis-ease of the mind and body. If we think of disorder, there's a disorder in the mind and the body. So when we get to a place of resolution, when we start to protect ourselves and have that self-certainty in our own ability, we then go ahead and start to find a sense of wholeness. We get to find a sense of peace. And we don't even find it, we just uncover it. We begin to discover the peace that is always present. And what I mean by the peace is always present is beneath the surface there is peace. It's just been on the surface level, which feels like our identity, that we're not enough, we're not capable, we're not deserving. It feels like it because what we go through and those symptoms, the anxiety, the worry feels real, but that's not who you are. That's what you are right now. That's all it is. Which is good news, because that means you are not broken, you're not unfixable. It means this is the present version of you. And that means when you start to fortify your mind by making the external noise to go, hey, that's your opinion and that's okay. That's your expectation and that's okay. But that opinion and expectation upon me doesn't have to be my reality. It doesn't have to be my business. Even if there is a racket going on in the media, sometimes we've got to just turn it down. Sometimes we need to go on a bit of a detox. It is hard, but then usually the first thing we do is we go to our device and get onto some form of social media or news, and it sets your neurology to go mental. Like you are in this fear-based anticipation and anxious neurological pattern as soon as you wake up. I remember years ago, I used to have the Sky News app on my phone, and one of the first things I always used to do was open it. And I noticed my state began to change. I began to expect bad news. Now, if I keep expecting bad news, I'm going to look for more of it. So in the end, I just deleted the app. I just deleted it. It wasn't going to affect me. And sometimes I feel a little bit bad about saying this because I don't want to come across as uncaring. But I cannot personally, I'm very in touch with my feelings, and I have to, and I'm empathetic. I can't say the word, you know the word I mean. Empathy, that's why I do what I do. I like helping people. I like to get people out of pain. I work with a ton of issues. I work with people like every day who have been through horrendous pasts, like big significant emotional events, and there's only so much bandwidth that I can have doing the work that I do, and I manage it very, very well, so that it causes me to grow and feel more energized, because at the end of the day, I've got to be in the state that I want them to be in. I can't match their state of being if I want to be able to change it. I've got to understand it, but I've got to get it out of it. Adding external pressures like anxiety of the news or the events around the world, which right now I cannot change, is not doing the event any justice. I'm not saying to ignore it, but we have to still protect ourselves because we only have so much bandwidth that we can take. And I'm not saying that in a way which is limiting. It's just your neurology. It's just your neurology. The analogy I've always thought of is like, imagine waking up and suddenly going on one of those real fast merry-go-rounds, like it goes, you know, ones you find at like a kid's park, and you just kind of keep on pushing it faster and faster and faster. Imagine waking up and suddenly trying to get on that. You are not going to be able to get on it. You're going to get flown off. If not, you're holding on to your life, just trying to stay on that merry-go-round. It's not going to happen. You've got to fortify your mind by preparing it in the right way as you get up in the morning. You've got to decide that you must come first before you engage with other people's issues. I make it a personal decision to never check my email in the morning. or maybe later on in the morning, but absolutely when I wake up, I'm not checking the email. What I do check most of the time, I'll tell you, to be honest, is my bank account, and I also check about the business growth, because that's what I care about, because that means I'm helping more people if I can put my attention there, and it's more positive in that way. Like, I know that I'm going where I want to be, and also I'm doing like creating my day process where I'm connecting with myself before I engage in other people. So there's a little ritual that I do in the morning, but by doing that, then I can serve people in a way that I would like to serve them. And the reason why I say that to you is that if you go to the news, your neurology is going to be just in this crazy state that you'll be out of control. So fortify your mind by preparing, anticipating your own success in the morning. How do you want to feel? How do you want to enter your day? How do you want to create your day? Because there are processes which you can do that, because wherever your mind goes, your body goes there. So if you're focusing on, for example, just a quick one, gratitude in the morning. Gratitude for what you have, for who you are, qualities-wise. It could be a tricky one, but think of what other people think of you, who love you. And then the gratitude for what is coming my way in the day. Now, if I have that, I am protected. I'm protecting my energy, and therefore I can deal with that external noise. Sometimes I need to quit it, not go on the app, delete the app. Sometimes I can go there, but I'm in a peak state, looking after my neurology. And then that gives me a frame of reference that I just know that these are just opinions. They don't have to be my opinions. And the interesting thing about social media and the news, we only hear the loudest people. Does that make sense? Most people are getting on with their day. So the opinions that you hear on the news could either be bought for, it could be geared toward a certain agendas, because it's like putting us in a state of fear to buy more things. Because where we are in a state of fear, we're in scarcity, and therefore we need to buy things, and that's great for the advertisers. I'm not saying that's a conspiracy. I just know there's a bit of truth in that. That the heightened state we go into scarcity, we want to be able to buy things or fulfill things because we feel that scarcity from within. And on top of that, other people's opinions, that's all we hear, the loudest people. It doesn't mean it's for everyone. You've got to protect your own opinion. Don't have to shout it out or anything like that, but you've got to understand who you are. What are your needs? What are your desires? How do you want to feel today? How do you want to step into the world? What kind of things do you want to do to make an impact? Whether it be an impact for yourself or impact for others. I like to think we should be doing good for self, good to others, good for the world, because that's ecology. But that starts with the good to self first. You cannot just help other people. You can't just do good for the world because you're not going to be in the right place. If you look after your own self first, your own oxygen, your own beingness, your own emotions, your thoughts, you are fortifying this strength. And it takes time. Don't give up on that. Set up your day the way you want it to be. Focus on your own needs first. Before you enter the world, we're just going 100 miles an hour with all the noise. We haven't been built for all the social stuff yet. This is a new experiment, really. I know we've had it for a couple of decades or so, but our brains, I don't know how wired they're wired up or used to that information to process it. I don't think our brains are quite right there yet. May take some time to deal with all this noise and opinions and expectations. We just haven't been built for that yet. So it's important to protect your thoughts before you engage in other people's thoughts and opinions. It's important to protect and fortify what you want out from the day in a loving way, of course. It's not like just about you, but like I said, good for self, good for others, good for the world. When you protect yourself first, when you fortify your mind and body, you can go into the day with self-certainty, even in the challenge. That's fun. Challenges are good. But you get to go into that situation with a level of strength that you may not have had if your neurology has been fired off way too quickly because you've been in this peaceful state, hopefully, a deep sleep, and you awaken, to suddenly switch from that state to this heightened energy, it's just not gonna work. You're gonna be stressed, and then you're gonna train your body to keep on being stressed in the morning, and then you get stressed about being stressed, and then you get that stressed about being stressed of expecting more stress, and then you get the anxiety, and then you're thinking of, what if this happens to me? What if that happens? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? What if I'm gonna get found out? What if what people are gonna think of me? I'm gonna fear success. I'm gonna fear failure. I'm operating on fear. I'm fueling fear. It's just not going to be good for us. So decide and declare you're going to protect yourself. Maybe, for example, this is a sale, so to speak, but on my app, you can listen to a morning meditation. That's a create your day process. Listen to that in the morning. It's gearing up your conscious and your unconscious mind to be aligned of how you want to be in the day. Or, like I said, you could do gratitude journals. I didn't say journals necessarily, but you could write down gratitude for what you have, for who you are, and what is coming your way. You could play inspirational music. You play meditation music. You can have a nice little ritual, making a cup of tea or something like that, or a coffee. You can do all these things before you engage into the world. That's going to fortify your strength and allow you to go throughout the day. Of course, you want to be working on yourself, like if there is that core limiting belief of maybe what you expect of yourself, like I'm not good enough, and well, yeah, do that. Get the help with that, whether it be through my work, my custom program, or other people's work, other people's books or podcasts and things. Just keep doing that. But in the beginning, break the chain, break the record of engaging into fear or anxiety or noise or opinions as soon as you wake up. It will change your whole day. And then it will change your whole week, your month, your year, that new consistency. I promise you, I do not look at any news when I wake up in the morning. I don't think I even check in any news. Maybe if there is something on like Facebook or Instagram or something, but to be honest, I don't engage much on those feeds because I kind of don't set it up on the platform that I don't get to see them. So that means my opinions are not in their opinions. I'm not carrying out other people's stories. I'm not taking those narratives, whether they be real or not, to make them my own in fear. It's not going to allow me to help more people, which is what I want to be doing in my life. I want to help people, and I cannot help people. And when I say help people, for you, it could be your family. It could be helping yourself in the work, which helps others, whether it be your colleagues, employees, or the customers that you serve. It could be serving your partner. You being healthier and happier because you are fortifying your mind when you start your day is going to change your relationship. And I'll tell you exactly why for that point. Let's just say you go throughout your day, and also we wake up, we engage in stress of some sort, noise, opinions, other people's business, other people's dramas, all of those things. You feel that stress, you go to work, for example, and because you're stressed or you're kind of out of sorts and you're engaged and you're thinking of all these self-limiting thoughts, you don't have a good day. If you then open your front door after work, who is the first person you're more likely to see? Now, whether they come later to your home, well, the first person you're going to see is when they walk through the door. Either way, it works the same. You are going to see that person, and because you're in a neurological state of stress of some sort, you're bringing all that stuff from your day, you neurologically associate that person with stress. Most relationships aren't not working for any reason other than, well, not maybe most, but a lot of them, is because we've been neurologically associated to project stress in their association. I'll tell you another example of interesting one. What can happen with therapists? You see, if someone who is seeing someone in as a client, let's just say, if that therapist helps that client and they process that and they feel better and they're always looking at the therapist, it can engage good associations. And there's been unhealthy consequences of that, where the patient falls in love with the therapist, for example, because they've just all this neuroassociation. So it works both ways. So if you want to be able to fall in love again with your partner, or to build that up again, be in a positive state, not bring all that stress and strain into the situation from other things. So you setting up your day and then not being a part of other people's noise, or switching it off as much as possible, it means when you go back to your home and then see your partner, or your kids for that matter, you're not bringing in and projecting that stress onto your children or onto your pet or onto your partner, and instead you're engaging with them with so much more clarity. Remember, this all neuroassociation. Whatever you feel and then you see or observe, you will then create an energetic tie. And another example was like Pavlov dogs, right? So in that example, you'd ring the bell, feed the dog, ring the bell, feed the dog. And after a while, when you ring the bell, the dog will biologically start to savulate because it's been trained. And it's the exact same thing what's happening. If we're training ourselves to be stressed and then also projecting even that stress onto other people, we're associating to it. But if you start to fortify your noise, fortify your mind to be able to then diminish the noise as you wake up in the morning, become certain in yourself, in who you are and how you want to be in the day. If you need help, listen to the app, the morning meditations. That's what it's designed for, or any other thing, like I said, the gratitude. And that's going to start to build the muscle, the strength to be able to go through your day so much easier. Like I said, disclaimer, a little bit, work on your core issue along throughout, because that's one of the most important things. Get the help to solve it. Get out your own way because it's hidden. Do whatever you can to let that go. Work with someone who you resonate to let that go if need be. But apply this, and it's going to allow you to go throughout your day with like half a stress. Like if that one thing I just said, reduce stress by 50%, would it be worth doing it for 10 minutes? I'm going to guess yes. If it only reduced it by 25%, you're probably going to say, I'm going to probably do it. Because it means your physiological body is going to be a place of whole. It's going to be that order. It's going to be in that ease. You're not going to be conflicted. You're not going to be out of order. You'll be aligned and congruent to go throughout your day. So whatever it is for you, find that morning routine without engaging with any of the external world. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to engage before you start to engage with your heart, your mind, your unconscious mind, your best friend, before you start to get out there in the real world. That means you can go out and do what has to be done in the most powerful way as possible. So I hope you got value from this episode. And yeah, just go ahead, apply it, see what happens. I look forward to speaking to you on the next episode. And by the way, before you go, this is important. The next episode is going to be a hypnosis session around this. It's going to be not necessarily about the routine, but it's going to be about how to get that mental strength to fortify your mind. And we'll probably include a little bit, but also if you're a part of the app, if you're a subscriber of the app even, you're going to get the nighttime version. And also, just before you go, check out the 4-hour sleep hypnosis section right now, because we've now released an ADHD title, a 4-hour one of that, a 4-hour fear of success, a 4-hour guilt release, 4-hour healing, 4-hour public speaking, 4-hour self-consciousness, 4-hour self-sabotage, 4-hour social phobia. And on top of that, in the next week or so, I'm also releasing one for physical exercise, one for IBS, one for healthy eating, one for exam stress, one for binge drinking, for OCD. Like, I'm just trying to get a lot of 4-hour hypnosis sessions, so you listen to it as you go to sleep, and that way you get to transform while you sleep and then start to apply exactly what I said in this episode. So go to freehypnosis.app in order to download it, if you're a member already, just go to the long sleep section, and you'll be able to find them all there. So that's freehypnosis.app, and if you're enjoying it, please leave a review. It means we help others, and help others, and help others. Your words make a huge difference. So thank you ever so much, and I'll speak to you on a future episode. Many thanks and goodbye.